Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Nomadic Network. We have looks like a smaller, intimate group today, which is great. Welcome. I'm Leah. I'm just going to go ahead and open up the waiting room, let everyone get settled in. And if you'd like to, find the chat, say hello, say where you're calling in from. And you can also change your username to, your social media handle if you'd like for us to connect with you afterwards. So just given a couple more seconds for everyone to file in, and I can just start with a little intro. So I see some familiar faces here. Happy to say that. But to all the new folks in the room, welcome. I'm Leah. I help run the Nomadic Network, and I'm a virtual event host. I also lead the Los Angeles chapter. I'm based out in LA, and I am the creator and co-host of the Ticket to Anywhere podcast. So today we have Trew with us. I'm pronouncing that right? Okay, perfect. So we're super excited to welcome Chris. And before we jump to him, I will go ahead and share my screen. But go ahead and keep using that chat. Right. So for all the new folks, like I mentioned, we're at a Nomadic Network event. We are a global community created by Nomadic Matt back in 2019. And we started in over 22 cities across the globe doing in-person events, speakers, really building that community in person. But with coronavirus, last year we pivoted to virtual events, which was actually a blessing in disguise because we got to launch several events from any corner of the planet, and anyone can come at any time. So it wasn't just focused on regional in-person events. So we got lucky this way. A few things to keep in mind. You're able to turn your camera on if you want. You don't have to. I think this will be a little bit of an interactive class, so that'll be awesome. And please stay muted for the duration so that we can let Chris have the floor. Unless, he wants us to unmute and all interact with each other, that's fine too. But feel free to use the chat. If you have any questions while Chris is teaching or presenting, go ahead and type them into the chat box and start it with the word question. And our speakers are doing this out of the kindness of their heart. So for that, we are very, very grateful to learn from Chris today. If you would like to catch any replays, you can check out our new membership network. It's called Nomadic Matt Plus. This has taken the place of Patreon. So this is our new Patreon. It's members.nomadicmatt.com. And yes, so now I am going to, oops, I lost you all for a second. All right, so Chris, he's a touring comedian who's based in New Orleans. He teaches improv classes to people and businesses all over, the States who want to learn a better way to communicate while earning a higher comedy IQ. And so today, Chris is gonna teach us some tips and tricks on how to gain and build your confidence through improv comedy in order to travel solo better. So with that, Chris, I'll pass it over to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Leah. Hey, everybody. My name is Chris. Everything she said is true. I'm a comedian from New Orleans. I teach improv comedy classes to people, to businesses. I do it at special events, and I absolutely love doing it for groups like this as well. So I am really grateful for the opportunity. I think it's really cool that you are all here right now, and I'm excited to teach you a couple of things about improv comedy, and we're actually going to do some improv together as well. So if that makes you crazy, crazy nervous, then I want you to know that I got your back. We're going to take care of you. It won't be as hard as you think. And also, if it makes you really nervous, that might be a really good reason to give it a shot, because we should all do things that scare us every now and then. That's how we grow and learn new stuff, right? So it's a few of you who have your cameras on right now. That's really awesome. I appreciate you. If you don't have your camera on and you want to be a part of this, would love it if you would flip it on for us. But of course, you don't have to get something out of the workshop. But if you want to be an active participant, we would love to see you, and you'll just get more out of it that way. But if it's not possible, I totally got your back on that. I'm gonna do a quick little PowerPoint presentation that I'm really proud of because I don't typically do PowerPoints in my improv comedy workshops, but I managed to put together a little PowerPoint presentation for us. So I'm gonna do that right now and it'll be good practice for me. Boom, here we go. Look at this. We are learning improv comedy today, y'all, but not just any kind of improv comedy. It's improv comedy for nomads. That's all of you. Improv comedy for nomads. So stoked to be here. A little bit about me. I use improv comedy techniques to do a lot of different things in life. I have a lot of interest over the years. I've managed to get into a lot of strange gigs in the entertainment world. Here's a couple of them that I credit improv for getting me in the door for all of these things. First of all, I performed at a bunch of music festivals. This is me at Fun 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 Fest in Austin, Texas. It looks like I'm yelling at the crowd. I'm actually just doing comedy, but I've just got really hyped about it. Right here, this is me in a pro wrestling ring. I use improv techniques to get me involved in pro wrestling. It's me in the top turnbuckle. Don't be scared though. Here's me doing some backstage interviews at a music festival in South Dakota. Again, improv techniques help me stay very present in the moment and give me the confidence to interact with anyone, no matter how ridiculously famous they are. And finally, here's me at a basketball game where I used to sit right behind the visitors bench and I would use improv techniques to interact and play with the basketball players. I ended up writing a book about sitting behind the players. So if you're a basketball fan, you would love that. It was a ton of fun. My point is improv is like the fuel that helps me do everything that I do. And so my goal today is to show you enough improv to where it might inspire you to use these techniques to help you achieve your dreams, be more confident, all that good stuff. Here's a few reasons why everyone should take at least one improv class. It will help you with your communication skills. You will form better listening habits. Your collaboration techniques will get a giant boost. You'll learn new ways to brainstorm. And I think probably the most important is it's just straight up fun. We're going to have fun today. Um, what kind of people take improv comedy classes? I mean, my students, my clients have been teachers, public speakers, creators of all kinds, salespeople, or sometimes people who are just looking for a specific skill, like more confidence or more listening skills, or they want to have a higher comedy IQ, like I mentioned earlier in the intro. So improv classes typically have a bunch of people in it for all kinds of reasons. I would love to hear, if we have time later on, why you, the people on this call, are interested in improv. It's a really beautiful, bizarre, wonderful art form, and I'm stoked to be able to show it to you today. Couple more slides left. Here's some press. Improv got some really great press the past couple of years. So here's me just showing you, like, you're in the right place. You're doing something cool right now. CNN Business says every boss should take an improv class because it helps with leadership skills and all that. The Atlantic says that improv is a form of therapy. I think it's because it helps you practice being in the moment and being very vulnerable and authentic. And also Forbes says improv training is great business training. So again, no matter what no matter what your end game is, no matter what your inspiration is for wanting to learn improv, you will pull so much good stuff out of this art form. I am so stoked that we're all here together. A couple final quick things. You may wonder, what is improv comedy? It quite simply is the act of making things up, typically for comedic effect. You go to an improv comedy show and people there don't have any plans. They are just on stage reacting, communicating, and ideally an audience is laughing. So you may be wondering, do you have to be funny to be in this class right now? You don't. So if anyone who is right now nervous, or if you got your cameras off because you're like, I'm just gonna watch, I don't feel funny, I'm not a funny person, I actually have really great news for you. This is not about being crazy funny. It's not about being the wittiest, most clever person. It's actually way more about being present in the moment, being a good listener, and being willing to communicate in a really interesting, dynamic way. So if you're willing to do those things, I can help you find the funny, and I hope that you give yourself a chance. So to wrap this up, a lot of successful business owners take improv classes. A lot of companies have monthly improv workshops. This is like taking over right now. People all over the world are doing improv for all kinds of different reasons. By the time we're done today, you will know why. All right, let's go. End of presentation. How did I do? How was the presentation, y'all? thumbs up, snaps. Great. I'm still getting used to the, the PowerPoint thing. It's like, it's growing on me though. I gotta admit, it's growing on me. All right. I'm going to pick some people at random, chat with you for a little bit, and we are going to just jump right into this thing. So can I get Candace? Candace, can you unmute your mic for me? Hi, how are
Hello.
you?
Good. How are you?
I'm so good. Where are you from, Candace?
Seattle.
Seattle. Welcome. I love it. So Candace, do we have any improv experience at all? Have we ever done an improv class? Ever seen an improv show?
I've seen lots of shows. I have not done any.
Cool.
I am a tour guide though, so I kind of do it on tour.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. Thank you for sharing. That is, well, and also thank you for attending improv shows. It's always nice when people are supporting their local comedy scene, wherever it is. So Candace, I'm going to have you be the first person to do this improv warm-up exercise. Everyone will be participating in it. You'll see what I mean in just a moment, but Candace will be our primary person here. Thank you for being the first one, by the way. I appreciate you. This is very easy. Okay. This is a simple warm-up exercise just to get us ready to improvise a little bit later. So it's called 7 Things. Candace, I'm going to ask Candace to basically answer the same question 7 times in a row. Okay. It's not going to be something that's going to put her in her head, because I don't want Candace thinking too much and being like, oh, am I doing this right? Am I being smart enough or funny enough? I want that filter to disappear, and I want her to just have the gift of showing up and just having fun and just being present. And that's all you got to do. Cool. I'll explain more about how this works and why we do this in just a moment. But for now, I'm going to ask Candace this question. And after every answer, Candace, it's going to be like a list. Okay. It'll be a list of things. After everything that you say, after every answer, I'm going to say yes. And I want everyone else on the call to also say yes and count with me. So it's going to be pretty active. So Candace, if you look at this gallery view right now, you should see all of us like this, like, yes, yes, yes. So we're all cheering you on. Okay. So even if you, wherever you are, just like get involved in whatever way feels comfortable for you, but it's cool if Candace can see us all cheering her on. And Leah, I think you're unmuted. You want to actually say yes with me? That'd be great.
Yeah, I was going to say, if we want because I saw Susie unmuted too. Do you want everyone to actually say out loud, yes, Chris, if they want to participate? Yeah,
I do. Okay. I do. Susie started a trend. Leah's got her back. Oh, here come the cameras on.
Yay!
I love it.
Oh, this makes me happy.
Candace, for showing up for you, girl. Okay, I'm going to give you a really easy one here. Remember, don't overthink this. You just like show up and answer it 7 times. Candace, I want you to give us 7 things that you take on every road trip. Go.
7 things. I bring my phone with lots of music.
Yes.
And podcasts.
Yes.
Podcasts, snacks, tons of snacks.
Yes.
A pillow.
Yes.
Okay.
Should I keep coming back to snacks?
She just starts naming different snacks.
We got beef jerky. We got apples, oranges.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Clothing, of course. Clothing. Yeah.
All right. There we go. Yeah. That's 7.
Yes.
Good job, Candace. Good job. Round of applause. Round of applause. Yeah. Candace got really excited at the concept of snacks just now, and she just lost control and just started reeling off snacks. I love it. I love it. Good job, Candace. That's all I'm asking y'all to do. Just showing up and just saying the things. There's a little bit of a rhythm to it, to give us some time to like respond. So almost like a call and response type of feel. But Candace, you did great. Remember, everyone's job, just don't overthink it. Just show up. So Candace, can you pick the next person? I'll ask the question, but can you pick the next person? That'll be fun.
We have D.
D. You ready to go, D?
I guess so. Wow.
Oh, D, we all believe in you. We believe in you so much. Where are you from?
Schaumburg, which is the northwest suburbs of Chicago.
Yes. Great. Awesome. I'll give you a Chicago themed question then. D, okay. Please give us seven hot dog toppings that are like the worst idea.
Oh, that are the worst idea.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh my God.
You can say
horseradish.
Yes.
Yes.
Sweet and sour sauce.
Yes.
Yes.
Strawberry jam.
Yes.
Yes.
Liquid smoke.
Yes.
Yes.
Um, Old Bay.
Yes.
Yes.
Marylanders would probably be mad at me for that one.
Yeah.
Okay, I got two more. Toppings. Sprinkles.
Yes.
Yes.
I need like a last
Anything.
last thing.
You can say anything in the world.
I know it's terrible because I'm trying to think of something as worst. That's the hard part. It's like topping.
Just say anything in front of.
Whipped cream.
There we go. Yes.
Yes.
Awesome. Good job, dude. Good job. Cool. So here's a couple quick things about this. I love this exercise because it promotes this culture of like just show up and start doing stuff, and you're going to be doing it right. That's important for the context of the class here. I also like the confidence boost you get when you're feeling the love from everyone else cheering you on, like going with it. We're not judging every answer. We're not like, no one's saying like, well, wait a minute, actually horseradish is a great hot dog topping. It's like, no, we're just going with these 7 things. I also want to give you all permission to say whatever you want. Like D could have been like, my cat. And we would have gone, yes. She could have said the Sears Tower. We would have said, yes. It's like, it's not necessarily about the most logical, perfect answers. I do appreciate you giving us some actual hot dog toppings that I guess you have problems with, which, I support you. But permission to get as weird and wild as y'all want with this, because guess what we're all going to do? We all got your back. Cool. So D, we're gonna do this to one more person, and then I'm gonna do a different exercise. D, can you pick the next one to pass it on to?
Sure. Let me see. I'm on galleries. Carla. Oh no, she doesn't have a thing on. Susie.
Susie. Hi, Susie. You ready to go?
Hello. Yes.
Where are you from, Susie?
Oh, I am on. Sorry. New York City.
Cool. Welcome. Glad you're here. Okay. Susie, we're doing one more 7 things. I want you to tell me 7 things that you wish you could fit in your pocket. Go.
My dog.
Yes.
Food.
Yes.
Well, any kind of steak. My entire closet.
Yes.
A blanket.
Yes.
A bottle of wine.
Yes.
Yes.
My orchids.
Yes. Last one.
My orchids and last one. I don't know why the last one was the hardest. Gosh.
You can just say any word in the world.
Oh, I got it. A toilet.
Yes. Awesome. Big round of applause for Susie. Good job, y'all. So that is an exercise called 7 things. We do that in the beginning of improv classes. There's all kinds of improv warm-ups. That's my favorite one. That's my favorite one to introduce to people doing this for the first time. It's really easy to wrap our heads around, and it really promotes this idea that you just need to show up. You need to not overthink things, and just and practice saying yes to stuff. Practice just being in the spirit of just going with it. Just going with it. Be the kind of person who says yes to adventure, who's like, I'm just going to do this. I'm going with it. I'm supporting this thing. And I think that's what, that's the kind of people I suspect a lot of you already are, but it's a good way to be in an improv class as well. So now I'm going to teach you the core foundation, like the heartbeat of improv. It's this concept called yes and. I'm gonna type it in the chat right now so you see exactly how it is spelled out and how it's phrased. Yes and. Yes, comma, and. Has anyone on this call ever heard of this? Want to take a stab at explaining it? Sabira, you want to unmute and tell me, am I saying your name right?
Yeah.
Great, awesome. So Sabira, what do you think when you hear yes and, what do you think?
So I know like in improv, that you always want to continue the skit. So when someone gives you a line, you say yes and, so that you can keep it going and it doesn't just end with that one line.
Yeah, that's a really great description. That's pretty much what we're doing here. The idea is that when you say yes, you're accepting what was said as being real. And the and is you're building on top of it. It's basically our way of ensuring that the conversation continues and keeps getting interesting. Whenever I explain this concept to people who have never done improv before, I like to remind them that like this, like whoever your best friend is or whoever your favorite person to communicate with is, you probably are yes-anding them right? You probably are organically yes-anding them because there's not a lot of like built-in conflict. You're good at listening to them and you're good at adding and having like a fun, fluid conversation. Now think about the people who you don't have that relationship with. Maybe it's someone who you work with, or maybe it's a weird person from your past. I don't know. It's someone who you always butt heads with. They're not great listeners. They don't build up what you said, or maybe they just say yes, they don't and. Those people stick out like a sore thumb after you learn this stuff. So I'm going to teach you how to yes and through doing improv comedy scenes between each other. Okay. Here's how it's going to go down. Sabira, I'm going to have you be in the very first one. And I'm also going to ask Ali. Is it Ali?
Yes, Ali.
Ali, what's up, man? Welcome. So here's how it's going to work. Every time I'm going to pick two people, and then I'm going to say who goes first. And Ali, you're going to be you're going to go first. So if I say you go first, you actually have a really easy job, and I don't want you to overthink it. I need you to say something that's very simple and basic. You're not like trying to solve the puzzle with one line. It has to be something kind of boring. Okay, let's embrace that. I want it to be something like I got new shoes today, or it's hot outside, or I can't wait for dinner. Just kind of like a simple, very plain opening line. Okay. Then after that, every line is going to start off with an enthusiastic yes. And you're going to add on to whatever was just said. And then Ollie's going to yes and you back, Sabira. And you're going to go back and forth until I tell you to stop. So here's a quick little example. If Ali says, I got a new pair of shoes today, Sabira might go, yes. And they're going to be perfect for your job interview tomorrow. Then Ollie might say, yes. And this job interview is so important because it's my dream job and I have to have it. So you can see like we just line by line, we're already getting somewhere interesting, as opposed to just like, I got new shoes. Oh yeah, that's cool. I got new shoes too. Oh, that's cool. Where'd you get them? I got them online. That's cool. It's like, no one's really saying anything yet. When you yes and it's making you make these big jumps, and you're also promoting listening. Does that make sense? Cool. So Ali and Sabira, you're going to be our first people to try this out. I won't make you do this for a really long time. So like stay locked in, have fun with it. And remember, enthusiastic. Yes. And Ali, go ahead whenever you're ready. Our super basic initiation.
Okay. The grass is green.
Yes, and it smells really nice.
Good.
Yes, and it's not so well with my allergies.
Yes, and I'll give you a pack of tissues for your allergies.
Yes, and I will gladly accept those tissues.
Yes, and I'm going to go to the corner store to buy some more tissues.
Yes, and that corner store is my favorite.
All right, scene. Awesome. Round of applause for those two. Wow. Sabira coming in the clutch, providing my man with some Kleenex, some toilet tissue, taking care of the allergies. I love it. That was so sweet. And then you ran out and you're going to get some more. I love it. Easy. So as simple as that. If you notice, this is not about like get in there and say the funniest, craziest thing you can think of. That's actually like that's like really intimidating and uninteresting to me. I want you to, instead of that, stay locked in, be a good listener, respond, make sure the other person felt heard, and just build. You will get somewhere interesting if you take your time that way, as opposed to that burden of like, how do I say the funniest thing right now? Cool. Y'all did a great job. Nice work. We're going to keep this going. Alejandro, you with me? Yes.
Yeah.
What's going on, man? You ready?
Yeah.
Awesome. And then Carla, can I get you to unmute as well? Carla's ready to go. Hi, Carla. Okay,
Hello, how are
we
you?
know how this works. Do we have any questions?
No.
Awesome. Great.
No.
Carla, I'm going to have you go first. Remember, something really simple. And then Alejandro is going to yes and you, and you're going to yes and him, back and forth, back and forth. Go ahead, Carla.
Um, it's very simple.
You got this. You got this.
I have, my daughter is in London.
Yes, and it's summer there.
Yes, and she has no job.
Yes, and she can go to festivals.
Yes, and my son is visiting.
Yes, and they can go together to parties.
Yes, and he must take his wife.
Yes, and they can now make a big trip around the country.
All right, Steve, awesome. Good job, Alejandro and Carla. I like at the beginning, Carla's like, she does not have a job. And then Alejandro's like, she can party.
Right.
Awesome. So hopefully y'all are seeing that, you know, I know it's intimidating or it feels like it's a lot when I'm putting you on the spot and we're on a Zoom call and you're doing comedy with someone you've never met before, with people from all over the world. But when we strip it down and we go piece by piece and practice the specific communication device, it becomes way less intimidating, a lot easier, and you find interesting things in the moment. And then suddenly you get comfortable and then funny things like organically happen. So far, so good. Y'all are doing a great job. Just bonus points for no one compromising something that someone just said. Like we're like, we have a really good vibe where we're all just going with it. You know, like whatever they say, it's true, and we're going to keep going with it. That's super important. We're going to do a few more of these, and then I'm going to check in with y'all, see if you have any questions for me. Susie, we're going to get you this next one. And Snehal?
Yeah, hi, it's Nehal.
Nehal?
Yes.
Got you. Thank you. So Nehal, I'm gonna have you go first. You go first. Basic, simple initiation. Susie, enthusiastic, yes, and building on top of that. Go ahead, Nehal.
Oh boy.
So you don't have to overthink this first one. Remember, like this is, you're not like solving the puzzle, right? You're just like saying the tiny thing that will become something together. So it's not like it's your responsibility for this first thing to be so great. You know, it just needs to be something. Whenever you're ready.
I went hiking today.
Yes, and you almost fainted.
Yes, and I also bumped my head on a tree limb.
Good.
Yes, and some random stranger had to call 911.
Yes, and I was picked up by a park ranger.
Good.
Yes, and he was really handsome and single.
Yes. And I got his number.
All right, Steve. Awesome. That was a really great example of like the spirit of going with it and just being playful in the moment, right? This makes sense? So Nehal, how did it feel when Susie said her first line when she said yes and you almost fainted? Like how did that land with you?
Yeah, it was different because I was expecting like a positive, you know, and it turned a little dark, and I just kind of went with it.
Which was awesome. I mean, that was badass. I was so happy with that moment. Look, so much of what improv teaches you is to embrace that feeling of not knowing what's coming next and being present and in the moment. Because you may have already noticed that if you overthink this or you overplan, and if you're like, oh, this is what we're going to do, we're going to go down this path, and then it changes a little bit, which is like which it will change. I mean, there's like, that's the one thing that we're sure of, right? Is that things will constantly change. So it behooves you to like stay so present that no matter what is sent to you, you can take it and build off that, right? Like Nihal would have been in serious trouble if she would have been like, no, I didn't faint. You know, I would have been like, time out. You know? Like your job is to like, just go with it and be in the and be present. And so even though you were surprised by that, the way that you adapted to it and went with it was great. And then Susie, you kept piling it on, you know, and it'd be like, which is good. Like this is like a very technically sound improv scene, even though it was your first time doing it. It was like, that was really, really good. Because you did this thing where you kept building, and it got funnier and funnier. Like, so then at the very end, when Nihal is like, yeah, I got his number. That's why that was so triumphant, because we were like, after all that, you got his number. We thought this was a sad story, right? Which is so funny and so smart. And this is just a really great example of how you don't have to try and be funny every single line. That's exhausting, right? I mean, if you ever hung out with someone who is like not actually funny, but they think they're really funny, there's just like, it's like joke. And you're like, can we slow down? Can you actually have a conversation, right? But someone who is genuinely actually funny, they like pick their spots, and it's so authentic, and it's almost like, it's like so simple, but it's so funny. And it's like, that's kind of what was going on here, is like, no one was like doing anything so absurd. It was like, they were listening, they were having an interaction, and then some funny, interesting, surprising stuff happened during it. Like, not so, it wasn't like shocking. It was just very authentically bizarre. And yeah, so really, really great job, y'all. That was excellent. Okay, I'm gonna do one more of these, and then I'm gonna check in with y'all, because I want to make sure I'm answering whatever questions you may have about anything I said with the art form, but also how this can help, can be beneficial to all of you and whatever you've got going on in your life and your travels. Because my big thing is that everyone should take an improv class just to at least learn the yes and technique. And if you fall in love with it, or if you're interested in more, there's plenty of ways you can pursue that. But I love the idea of introducing this art form to as many people as possible. And so I'm grateful to Leah and the Nomadic Network for having me here. But we'll get to questions in just a moment. Before that, I want to do one more scene. Candace and Dee, ready to jump in here? Yes. All right. We're going to have Dee go first. So give me just a simple initiation, and then Candace is going to yes and you from there. Remember, an enthusiastic yes. And your job is to stay locked into the moment. Stay present. Go ahead, Dee, whenever you're ready.
It's raining outside.
Yes, and I forgot my umbrella.
Yes, so did I, and I had to use my shirt.
Yes, and I hope you had a tank top on too.
Well, no, yes,
No,
but
yes.
I pulled it over my head and didn't take it off.
Yes, and the shirt hood is perfect.
Yes, it looked kind of like a crazy hunchback, but I was dry.
Yes, and that's all you could ask for, really, on a rainy day.
Scene. Awesome. Round of applause. Great job, y'all. Great job. So hopefully what you are seeing here is that it's like we start these scenes off with really simple, basic initiations just to prove that when you communicate a certain way, interesting things will organically happen, and they can happen pretty quickly, right? So it's like, it's raining today. It's like not an exciting initiation, but then which is what I asked you to do. So good job. But then when we yes and each other back and forth, we build. It's like we're each bringing a brick. And by the time we're done, we built a house together. We built a nice cathedral, you know, and no one's bringing too many bricks. No one's just pointing and saying nice brick. We're all bringing one at a time. And so we're doing this together. So there's a sense of community and collaboration. We're done with these scenes because no one person is doing all the work together, right? It's like Nihal wouldn't have gotten that guy's number if Susie wouldn't have talked about how, like how treacherous this hiking accident was or whatever, right? It's like we're doing this together all the time. And so one of the things I really love, and we're going to do questions in just a second. One of the things I really love about this art form, and what I hope everyone takes away from it is being so open-minded and present in any conversation you're having with somebody else or any situation that you're in, that if it doesn't go the way you think it's supposed to go, you can still get something out of it. If the conversation changes in a way that surprises you, maybe that was actually a good thing. And to never be so firm in where you think something is supposed to go that it like actively disrupts your momentum or your mental health or your status at that point in time, that it never like damages it in such a way because it didn't go the way you thought it was. It's like you stay so flexible. Like, here's my favorite example. If I'm doing an improv scene and if I say to someone like, oh, the x-rays came back and the test results were very bad, it looks like you have 24 hours left to live, I'm not saying anything other than that, because the person could say to me, they could be like, yes, and that's great news because I have my bucket list ready to go. I'm gonna have the best day ever. And it's like, oh, they actually took that and made it into a really positive thing. So I can't be the kind of person who's like says this thing and assumes that because I said that it means all these things are going to happen. It's like, no, I say this and I wait to see whatever you say and then I react. It's like tennis. Even if you've never played tennis in your life, you understand logically that when you hit a tennis ball over the net, you don't get to just run somewhere and wait for the ball. Like, you have to wait till they hit it and then you go to wherever the ball went. Like, conversations are the same way. We teach people that tennis comparison in improv, because you can't just be like, oh, because I said this, that means we're doing this. Like, no, I have to wait till you respond. And then I go to where you respond and I send it back over to you. I think everyone should talk this way, even if it's not in the context of an improv class. You should be so present and be listening so much that you're going to go wherever the conversation organically goes. Does that make sense? So it just so happens that also makes improv easier and funnier. So people like me who do improv for a living, we've like taken over this type of language, but when in reality, it's like, it works in any type of language. It works for any situations. Like, even if you're not doing comedy, you should be conceptually yes-anding people. You don't have to literally say the words yes and you can if you want, but it's more about the spirit, like the spirit of yes-anding stuff. Awesome. Great job, everyone. I would love to chat with you right now about whatever questions you have about anything that I said, anything that happened in a scene. You want me to expand on anything, or just really open Q&A for anything related in the improv world. And if you don't have a question, I would love to hear just like some sort of takeaway or like a favorite moment from today, just to get the conversation going. Who wants to go first?
Can I do a little wrap up of like what I learned? Because I was like taking notes the whole time.
That'd be so sweet. Yeah.
Yeah. I love this because, we were excited, Chris, to bring you on, like in the context of gaining confidence while traveling solo. And you don't have to be a solo traveler. You don't have to be a frugal traveler. Like, we don't judge against any kind of travel here. But the main themes that I heard were, one, show up. As we know, showing up is 50% of it's like the hard part, right? Showing up to a task, showing up to a trip, like just going. Even if you go and you decide you hate it and come back, like you have that experience, right? So that's showing up. Your second exercise like promotes listening, which is important, like when and if you want to meet new people on the road, right? And embracing that feeling of like not knowing what's coming next, which is, what like Nomadic Mac speaks about a lot. And I think a lot of us as travelers love that feeling of maybe not planning every single little thing out and just going with the flow while we're on the road. I am a budget backpacker and I stay in hostels and I frequently travel alone. So I was relating a lot of what you said to when I meet people in hostels, right? Like it's it's raining outside today example, like that's not an exciting initiation, but the fact that we can like be present and build off of like you can turn any conversation like any way you want it to if you just like listen and play tennis with the other person. And I frequently do that in hostels when I'm trying to meet new people. So I thought I'd just share like what I gathered from seeing all you beautiful folks like pull off these exercises flawlessly. I loved listening to them.
I love that. Thank you for taking those notes, Leah. That's really sweet. I agree with all of them. Yeah, it's really difficult to have a boring conversation with someone who knows how to do improv. Even someone who's only done a little bit of improv, if you like buy into it, it's like just being the kind of person who yes and. So I imagine being a solo traveler and being in a hostel somewhere, and maybe someone is really self-conscious about meeting someone new and they're just like not opening themselves up. If you yes and them, like it'll rub off. Like they will eventually, like I'm not saying they will literally yes and you back, but like they might be like, oh, this person is really like building off what I'm saying. They're great at conversation. They are listening to me
Yeah.
and they'll do the same thing back to you. So yeah, that's great. What else do we have? Other thoughts or questions? I'll take anything right now, even if it's just like a simple takeaway from the workshop. Just want to hear something from y'all. Who wants to go next? Hey, D, what's up?
Is there any tips or tricks for someone if you're trying to have a conversation with somebody, but they're a chronic no, like they just don't seem to give you enough on their end of the the tennis game, that you lob something out there and they either smack it into the other or just watch it go by, and
Or they put their racket down.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's a great question, D. And so I have good and bad news. Like the good news is they like if one person is equipped with this with this style, then you could do it to them so much that it's like it almost like it sticks out so badly that when they are not doing it, it's like, I am so obviously down to be playful and listen to you. Like, do you not see the differences in how we're communicating? The bad news though, is that when you learn this stuff, those people, like, they stand out so much. It never so typically I do classes that are like an 8-week long class in person or like a 4 or 5 week long program on a Zoom call. And what happens is all those people, by the end of it, they all realize the people in their lives who should take an improv class. And they're like, man, my uncle, my dad, my sister, my girlfriend, whatever, is like, they need to take a class. Like they're no butting me, which is the opposite of a yes and. A no but is like, no, not you and your idea, but you listen to my idea, which is like so anti what we were talking about today. It's like not playful, it's not respectful, it's not interesting. So it's a tough one, D. It's a tough one, but I would suggest just like either giving them an improv class for a birthday present or just like or maybe even saying like do you notice how I'm yes anding you? Like I am saying yes and to you. Like I am listening to your ideas and building off of it, not steering the conversation in a selfish way. I would love it if you would give me the same respect. It can be tough. And I promise y'all, even after just this like brief 40-minute improv class, some of you are going to notice these people. You probably are thinking of them right now where you're like, oh my God, this dude, Chris, is talking about my friend Dan or whatever. Sorry if I nailed it just now with someone's actual name too. Just a wild guess. Thank you, D. Great question. What other thoughts or feedback do we have? Susie.
Yeah, I really liked how you made all of these interactions simple, right? Like there's no stress about it, because I think that we already do that ourselves. Like we're already mentally stressing and trying to script out what we think we should say in order to generate interest. So yeah, I think it really is all about, listening to the other person and just responding to that other person. Sometimes it's as simple as that, and then see where you can take it. And
Yeah.
also you do have to see if the other person will go along with it or not. I mean, there's you can only also control like what you're going to say. So yeah, no, I feel like you took off that pressure and you just made it seem seamless for us. Well,
Awesome.
at least for myself, excuse me. So thank you.
Well, Susie, thank you. I appreciate that. And yeah, you're totally right. I mean, how many times we've all been guilty of this to a certain extent, but how many times are we thinking about what we're going to say while someone else is talking? Right. It's like, ooh, it feels bad to admit that, but that's what we do sometimes, right? In improv, if you do that, you'll sink quickly and then you'll have a bad time and you'll be embarrassed because you clearly didn't respond to whatever they just said. So that's another thing that improv helps train you. It helps train you in. It's like you just become a better person when you are practicing this art form, right? Because you have to. There's all sorts of little subtle things like that, like you. None of you were able to think about what you're going to say next during that exercise. You had to stay present. So how often in your day-to-day life do you have moments where you are actually just kind of zenned out and just like there waiting and listening? Like it doesn't happen that often because we're like watching TV while on our phones or we're or whatever the thing is. It's just like there's so much going on. So improv is just a really, really cool little trick for that. And on top of that, it's like we're laughing. Like we laughed during this class. So it's really special to me that this art form is like teaches you listening and communication techniques, and you also pick up some comedy techniques in the process because that's just the way it works. So yeah, so I'm really grateful that this is also fun and funny, not just helpful. Thank you, Susie. Thank you for that. And yeah, time for a few more. Any other questions or thoughts? Even if you just want to have like a little takeaway, just like favorite thing that happened. If you don't have like a big question, it's all good. Vera,
Yeah,
yes.
I can tell you what I took away. So I thought it was like useful, especially the yes and, because like I like to travel solo, and then I also moved cities like last year, so I've been meeting a lot of new people, and sometimes I find it hard to like have a conversation with them when I don't know much about them and like I don't know what to talk about. So like that's a really good idea to like just build upon whatever they're saying and like try to turn it into back and forth, so I don't like end the conversation because I don't know what to say.
Yeah. Hey, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. That's really cool. And if we were to keep doing this, like let's just like in a world in which this workshop is actually supposed to be 2 hours long. If you're like, okay, what do we do next? What we would do next is the same thing, but I wouldn't make you say the words yes and, but I would make sure that you were still using it. Because that's the next step. It's like, how can you be someone who is yes anding them without literally saying the words, right? And it's very possible. It's yes, so that's the next logical step. So my point is, you can all practice this in your day-to-day lives without necessarily having to say the words yes and. If it's helpful, I support you in doing that. If it helps promote within you the spirit of listening and building, then go nuts. Yes and all day, baby. Yeah.
Is this the yes and, based on your experience, is this something that can be applied, at work, but without saying the yes and, of course?
Oh,
without coming off as like that, oh yes, I'm a yes person, and
yeah, that's a really great question. I think the way that you don't come off as a yes person is the and. I mean, if it was just yes, that person is never adding anything. I think that's where the negative connotations of a yes person comes from, is that they exclusively go with it. But like with the and builds in the playfulness, builds in the next step of the conversation where we're all contributing to this together. So I would say prioritize the and part of that so that you never feel like you're just saying yes, because that's a big component of this too, is like, it's not just saying yes to every single thing. It's the yes is more of a, I heard you, I'm with you, let's do this, right? Yeah, does that help?
Yeah, yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm gonna start to wrap this up right now. I just want to say this was a ton of fun. I really appreciate getting the chance to bring this material to different people. So thank you, Leah and Nomadic Network, for having me. If anyone wants to continue learning this stuff, I'm super easy to find. That's my Instagram name and my handle right there. I do online courses. I do Zoom classes like this where we just dive a little bit deeper, and other like sketch comedy writing courses and stuff like that. And I do this for companies too. So sometimes a company will bring me in for like a team building event. So if you want any more information about that, I'm easy to find. I think we just put it in the chat. So thank you, Leah. Oh, look at that. Oh my God, so on top of it. And I would love to connect with you on Instagram if you want to just shoot me a DM and just tell me how you felt about it. And I'll happy to answer whatever other questions come up. And yeah, I really grateful. Thank you. This is a really cool community and I'm stoked to be a part of it for tonight. And I hope you all got something out of it. Leah, how'd I do?
Yeah. Thank
Oh,
you.
awesome, Chris. Thank you so much. I thought the group size was like the perfect size as well, that we all got to participate and it got to be a more intimate workshop. So yes, I did drop your information in the chat. So you know, earlier we said all the speakers, including Chris, do this out of the kindness of their heart and all the knowledge they have to share. So if you could just give them a follow, connect with them, you know, let him know what resonated with you. I'm sure Chris would appreciate that. We'd appreciate that. But this was wonderful. It's been a while since I've taken an improv class, but it's very cool to see how these concepts just apply to like everyday life too, like communication, listening, acknowledging people, you know. So it's great. Thank you so much. And yeah, I'll just close out with a couple of slides, everyone. So thank you all for being here today. So these are the upcoming events that we have. You'll see we start off with Chris is here. Tomorrow, we have an event for travel writers, how to plan a book launch. And then we also partner with the Impact Travel Alliance and Wonderful, and sometimes the Black Travel Alliance, and help promote our partner events as well. So we have Asian AAPI Travelers partner event coming up. Next week, we have learning about Indigenous life and culture with designer Rebecca Jarvie, and a few happy hours next week as well. You don't have to be from that region to attend that happy hour at all. You can, beauty of virtual, you can attend any happy hour you want in the world. So our next book club is July 7th. You'll see that here with Helen O'Kyra. She's presenting on Scotland Beyond the Bagpipes. It's not really a presentation, excuse me. It's more of a Q&A, which is great. You all get to come off mute just like this class and ask the author herself questions about her novel. And Nomadic Matt himself hosts these ones. So like I mentioned earlier, you can visit members.nomadicmat.com in order to get some of the replays, personal stories. You'll get input on the content we create, live Q&As every month, and some, you can win some free gear every once in a while, never before seen photos, and exclusive Facebook group, which is awesome because you kind of get like personalized travel advice from the community in there. So a bunch of other perks. Like I said, it wouldn't be the same if it was just Chris and myself taking this class. Like it literally wouldn't happen at all because he's the teacher. So thank you to each and every one of you for coming out tonight and supporting the Nomadic Network and supporting Chris. Go give him a follow and hopefully we see you and a friend next time. So thank you guys.
Thank y'all so much. I appreciate it. Good job, everybody.
Take care. Great job, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.